Hey guys, just finished watching Marvel's Runaways, Season 2, Episode 6, by another. This episode was really interesting. It's really a fun episode right in the middle of the season, you know. Not too much happens in here, but the stakes of what the few things do happen are much bigger things that happen in this episode. And I really like that about this episode. In the last episode, we had a lot of things going on and stuff, but the stakes were not as big as this episode. So I think I really like this episode. I do not have nearly as much kind of tags and stuff and notes here, but the bigger things and stuff. So that's really cool digging into that. So let's dive into these things. We see that Jonah said that his ship won't destroy California. It won't cause an earthquake and destroying everything because of the gravity stuff in there. But we're not sure if he really knows that, or if he because he's just a random. From what I'm getting, he's just a random person who from his civilization, he might not have been kind of the engineer of his race, or the Einstein of his race, or type of thing, or the Stephen Hawking of his planet and stuff. And I think that's going to be interesting to kind of play with. He's just another guy from that planet. That's why he needed pride. He had all these different kind of roles for them that he kind of describes out in this episode, and that was really cool. So we see Carolina. Obviously, she went last episode. We saw that she went to go see her mother. We see that conversation here, and they talk about, and she finds out from her mother that Jonah killed Amy and stuff. And I think that was an interesting idea. For me, it was like, oh, not much of a reveal until later on in the end of the episode, and they kind of use it again and stuff. That was cool. We see Chase meets his mother when he goes to the hospital to get Gert. She had called Chase's mother, pretended to be Chase, so that she could get stuff out of the meds out of the hospital without having her parents, who would just kind of wouldn't be able to kind of rationalize everything, where she could rationalize with Chase's mother. And I think that was interesting dealing with that. Forces him to kind of meet his mother unwillingly, and just kind of drops out on him. She ends up telling him that Jonah needs a new soul, needs a new sacrifice, right? And so they bring that back to everyone. I kind of like that. They bring it back to everyone, and Gert's like, I don't want you to tell anyone. And the first thing he does is tells Molly she went to the hospital to get some meds and all that stuff. And I love that, the way they were kind of playing that with that relationship instead of keeping it a secret from them. I like that. We see Carolina kind of sees, there's one point we see Carolina, she's in the front of the mirror, and she's kind of testing out her powers, making her glowing, turning it off, glow, turn it off type thing. And for a brief second, only because I downloaded the episode to watch it, I was able to notice that Carolina saw. It's unclear if Carolina saw it, or at least they did it for the audience. In the mirror, you see Carolina as we see Nico as Amy, and I think that was really interesting. At first, I saw that and I thought that for some reason, we finally get to see Nico without makeup or something, just going for a whole new look or something. And then I was like, whoa, and and it looked like Carolina maybe saw that too, but it was unclear as if how that really works and stuff. But I think that was interesting playing with that, and if there's any reason to that, I don't know. I think it's just kind of quite interesting as they do that. It must have been on purpose the way they did it. It's clearly Amy. It's clearly not not Nico and all that stuff. And I think that was really interesting doing that, because if you're watching it, I guess if you're watching it on Hulu, you can pause and go backwards. I'm not really sure how it works there, but it's just one of those things that if you're watching it on TV, you would have missed it. If you can't pause and go back, you would have completely missed it, because it's suddenly it zips real fast, and then it's like whoa, and you have to rewind to kind of, you're not sure what you saw, right? Like you would have, and if you can't pause and rewind the episode and go back in the episode and then pause it there, then you wouldn't be able. You'd probably just ignore it. Oh no, it's not what it is. It's Nico, right? You would kind of ignore it, right? So I think that's a really interesting idea. I'm not sure as to kind of. I guess it's kind of a foreshadow for later on in the episode. I think that's kind of interesting, or if that ever comes back into play, it could be something interesting there. But I think it's just a foreshadowing for the end of the episode. We see Jonah ends up killing Jeffrey Wilder, or at least he hits him in the back of the head and drags him into the chamber after Frank Dean had told him, he's not going to get him a kid, anyone to sacrifice. He's going to have to do it yourself now. So he goes to do that. And the Runaways obviously know that Jonah needs a sacrifice. They get there just in time, and they end up saving, and they break Jeffrey Wilder out. And they end up bringing him back to their place and keeping them captive. But they leave Frank Stein there, and I think that was kind of interesting. And later on, we see Janet Stein. She ends up bringing him, letting him out of his cage, saying that, she realizes after she read the book that he wasn't really dead. Jonah was just pretending that he was dead. He's healing. And he's been healed for a long time. That makes more sense. I think that's going to be interesting to see as to where things go. They're going to try and team up to to stop Jonah's ship. And I think that's going to be interesting to see that. We see at the end of the episode, we see Carolina, she tells Nico, comes clean, that, she's been meeting with Jonah. She's kind of falling for him now, even all the dark stuff he's been telling her. And that's something that I really want to kind of play with. She ends up telling her that Jonah killed Amy, and I think that's going to be something cool to play with. I think that's where the seeing Amy in the mirror type thing was a foreshadowing for that. I think that was kind of interesting there, and I like the way it's going to be interesting to see how things play. Like they played it this way. She had this reaction, but I feel like she's kind of still in limbo with this reaction. We'll get the actual reaction in the beginning of the next episode when we pick right up with that scene type thing. I think that's how they're going to play it, like a non-reaction, like a still processing reaction type thing is what we got here. And then we'll get it was a good idea to tell her, or find out if it was a bad idea to tell her, kind of make it black and white. Now she's in the gray area, and we're going to find a black or white answer to how she feels about it. I think that's going to be interesting to see as to where things kind of go with that. And her kind of falling for Jonah, I think, is an interesting idea to see as to where things kind of go with that. How far is she going to willing to go with that? Like, if everyone comes out of how many people would she be willing to sacrifice? If Jonah came to Carolina and said, "Hey, you go get me a soul to heal me," would Carolina do that at this point? I think that would be something interesting to play with, to see as to kind of how far would she really go for Jonah at this point, and if they open up, they let everyone out of the ship, and they all need people, right? At what point does she kind of realize, okay, we can't do this, we can't be killing everyone like this, and if she ends up opening up that ship and there's all kinds of people who are family and stuff, and Jonah could be lying to her, we don't really know for sure, but clearly there's some sort of connection there, right, with her powers looking somewhat the same. But it would be cool to see as to when the people in the ship come out, are they the exact same powers as Jonah? Because Jonah's a bit more of a white color to him, whereas Carolina's a bit more of a multicolor to him, more colors involved, and he's more white, right? And the people in the ship, are they more white? Or is there going to be a mixture of white and colorful and all that stuff? And she's just kind of random, just kind of like blue eyes, blonde hair. Really, everyone's human, it's all the same. Just some people have blue eyes, some people have blonde hair, some people have different color skin color. We're all human, right? Just different variations. So it's going to be interesting to see how they play with that for Jonah and the people in his ship. Are they all going to be white? Are they all going to be white powered like him, or more colorful powered like Carolina? Or is her color powers a result of her being part human, as having Leslie Dean as her mother? I think that could be something to play with, to see as to where things go with that. And if she does meet a bunch of her family down there, at what point does she stop? Where does the kind of the line go? Does she become a villain, when she just decides to help him and start sacrificing people to him? I think that could be something cool to play with. So all in all, I definitely can't wait to see as to where things go with this. And this episode definitely had a better cliffhanger in the middle of the episode at the end of this season, because it is a middle point for the season. So that's going to be fun to see as to where things go with all that. So let me know what you think, guys, about this episode in the comments below. Where do you think things are going to go with all that? How do you think Nico's going to react to this news about Amy? And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
I'm Captain America, here to talk to you about one of the most valuable traits a soldier or student can have.
Subscribing.
Sometimes subscribing is the key to victory. Sometimes it leads to very little, and it seems like it's not worth it. And you wonder why you waited so long for something so disappointing. How many more of these?
You're still here.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Peace.
It's over.